Got my little helper here because we're gonna get some ingredients from our favorite Filipino grocery store for beefsteak, which I haven't cooked in a long time. Do you remember Mama's beefsteak?
No.
It's a beef and onion dish. In fact, I look back and the beefsteak recipe that I did with Mama over a decade ago has 1 million plus views. So I thought, why not make it again? But I'm gonna make it in Mama's secret recipe. When I say secret, she never told me the full recipe because she has variations, which I think is kind of normal. But I watched her video on her channel and she did a few different things. So the first thing I want to get is Filipino soy sauce. This was the one that Mama always used, Datu Puti. It's really good. It's solid, and here, what is it? It's $3.89. It's kind of expensive, but you know what? We'll use all of this. So, hey, can you put this in your cart? Thank you. All right, so the next thing we need is calamansi. Calamansi is a citrus fruit of the Philippines. I don't know if they have that anywhere else, but you can't get it at a normal grocery store. Oh, what do you see here? That's a red egg. I don't know what's in it, but anyways, what's the red egg about? I don't even know. What we need is calamansi. Where's the calamansi at? I have no idea why I can't find it, but let me ask them. Excuse me? Do you guys have calamansi? Fresh calamansi? He said cooler E in the middle section. Oh, I see where I missed it. All right, here we go. It's all orange, which typically it's green, but we'll get it anyways. Oh my gosh, 364. Okay, excuse me. Who said you could get some shrimp chips? Is that your snack? Is that your snack for today? Okay, all right, here we go. Calamansi, we'll get this. Thank you for being my little helper. They got the ube ice cream this time. But you know what? I'll wait till next time for that. Last time I was looking for this, so sweet red bean. What? Lychee and syrup? You like that?
Yeah.
How do you even know about that?
Because I just know it.
Let's go check out. We're not gonna get this though. Thank you. She chose the chips over the pillows. Can't blame her for trying though. Let's go get the meat now. Now we're at the regular grocery store to get the rest of the ingredients. We're gonna get a basket because we don't need that much. This girl already knows where to go. Get some onions here. These look really nice. Let's get some meat here. So I'm looking for either top round, this is beef brisket, or bottom round. Might do, but it's looking a little bit too lean. I want a little bit of fat on there. All right, so I'm gonna go with top sirloin because this is, I believe, what Mama used. $14 a pound. It's already thin cut. I will further tenderize this, so I'm gonna go ahead and get 2 of these. I just got back home, got everything prepared, got my cooking station done, got my ingredients ready to prepare. This is where I'm gonna tenderize meat. Ingredients, here's a steak laid out. As you can see, it's really thin, but I'm going to not only tenderize it, I'm gonna get it even more thin than that. Got plenty of onions because we love the onions and beef steak. Salt and pepper, this beef bouillon. I have both calamansi and lemon. I have a feeling I won't even need any lemon, but I thought, why not? And then I got the Datu Puti soy sauce, and I'm using avocado oil. One thing I want to say about this recipe is it's different than when Mama taught me how to make it. And it taught me something about cooks and people that just love to, try out different recipes. It's more about the instinct and thinking on the fly, adjusting for different flavor profiles, different preferences, because I'm kind of shocked. When I saw Mama's video, which by the way, we'll show you a clip here, compared to the old clip here, it's crazy how different it is. This one, Mama doesn't marinate the meat, which is unlike any other beefsteak recipe. She uses beef bouillon, which is very unique, I'd say. And the rest of it is pretty much the same. When Mama taught me this, she used lemon juice. I didn't even know you use calamansi in this, but she uses calamansi in her new video. So yeah, there's some differences, but that's the fun part of cooking. And once you start cooking enough, you realize the recipe is just a guide, but you can take it to whatever direction you want to go. So I love seeing Mama's secret ingredients and recipes on her channel that she didn't share with me. I don't think she was trying to hide anything, but I mean, you're talking, that was a 10-year difference between the two. So anyways, first thing I'm gonna grab is a beer. Today's beer, Sober Carpenter. This is an IPA, non-alcoholic beer. I'm gonna prepare the steak. I'm just gonna take these strips, these really thin strips, take my tenderizer, and I'm just gonna go to town. I don't know how much I should do. It's not taking very much to do it. Bam! Look at that. I'm gonna go ahead and tenderize both sides. I'm curious from people that are familiar with making this recipe if you've used different cuts of meat, maybe a New York or ribeye, or do you use top sirloin, bottom round, top round? Mama's calls for a bottom round or top sirloin. So then I'm gonna go ahead and cut it into kind of bite-sized pieces like that, and then put it into my bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and do that for all these pieces, and then I'll start prepping the other ingredients. Steak's tenderized. Now to prepare the onions. One thing I saw in Mama's video is it's important to slice these into rings. So that's what I'm gonna do. I was watching Mama cook beefsteak and Papa, I guess, prepped her onions. But for whatever reason, Papa did not cut the onions into rings. He sliced them into strips. And she made a point to kind of call him out on it. Which is interesting because I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but maybe for presentation, and if you think about every single beefsteak I ever ate, or you probably ever ate, the onions were cut into rings. So that's what we're gonna do. I think that's enough onions. I thought I was going to use 3 onions, but this is maybe too many onions. But
it's been tenderized already. 3 tablespoons of water. And
yes, I still watch Mama's videos. So I'm going to get the marinade ready, and I'm not sure you saw, but she was using calamansi, I believe. I was watching the video because I wanted to see how much calamansi she squeezed in there. In the description, it does tell you a certain amount, but it seems like it's not enough. But we're gonna follow it. I'm curious for people out there, how many times do you watch a recipe video while you're cooking it or before you're cooking it? I know that for me, I might watch a video 3 to 10 times as I'm cooking it, before I'm cooking it. There's something that just, I don't know, makes you want to watch it over and over and over and over. Sometimes when I even know the recipe, I just keep watching it. I like listening to the person teaching on how to make it, even if I'm already past that part, just making sure I didn't miss anything. So it calls for 3.5 tablespoons of calamansi. I'm seriously just eyeballing this here. Smells great. Now, I am going to use some lemon with this because this is so ripe that it kind of has a orangey sweetness to it, which I don't want it to be too sweet. I want the bitterness, the sourness of the lemon to contrast the sweetness of the calamansi, since the calamansi is, I would say, a little over-ripened. Okay, I did say I was going to eyeball it, but now I'm changing my mind. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's actually pretty close. Save the rest for a whiskey sour later. The Datu Puti calls for a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I'm going to add a little bit extra because I like a lot of sauce, or sabao as they would say it. Last but not least, 1 tablespoon of water. Mix. Onions are sliced. Got my flavors ready to go. Meat is prepared. Time to cook. So Mama used a wok. I am going to use this pan here just because I prefer it sometimes. I might as well put it on high. I will lower it to medium high. For my oil, I mentioned I'm using some avocado oil. So one thing you're going to notice about this is a no marinade beefsteak, which I've never heard of. When Mama even taught me, we marinated the meat for 3 or 4 hours. I wanted to try this, and I think it's really cool that you don't have to marinate the meat. Now, how is it gonna affect the flavor? I don't know. Maybe it's not as good, but if this is what Mama made, we always loved it, so let's try it. Okay, I'm gonna lower the heat to medium high. Actually, a medium. Mama did say don't overcook it. There we go. I'm gonna try to do this all by hand. Be careful, this is splattering a little bit. And when I'm done cooking these, I'm gonna put them into this wooden bowl off to the side, and that's what I'm gonna marinate them on afterwards. So even though I don't marinate it beforehand, I will marinate them in here afterwards. Okay, I'm turning off the heat now, and the browning is amazing looking. Okay, so this is definitely one of the things that makes Mama's recipe unique, at least this version, is she does this all afterwards. So I'm gonna put this all over the top. I might not use all of it. I might reserve some just because it's a lot. And then in her video, she doesn't mention it, but she marinates this, but I don't know for how long. I'm guessing it isn't very long, maybe just sitting there for a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. When I saw this, I was thinking, and for me personally, this is how I would prefer to have my beefsteak, because I find when you marinate it beforehand, it's harder to cook in the pan and really know you got that Maillard effect or that browning, which brings out so much of the flavor because you're caramelizing the fat. But this method, you do it afterwards, plus you don't have to wait, so you can make it almost right away. So even though it seems to me from watching her video, she only marinated this for maybe like a few minutes, I am going to just let this sit for a while. We're talking maybe 10, 15 minutes, why not? And another thing she did there that she did not teach me, but thank God she made a video, beef bouillon. So I'm using this Signature Select brand, just whatever the store has. She puts this right on. Now she says it's optional, but it adds more beef flavor, which totally makes sense. This is such a Mama thing to do because she loves beef bouillon. Judy also loves using like chicken bouillon, so I'm not gonna put too much on there, but she says it adds a beefier flavor to it, and who doesn't like things beefier? So there you go, looks amazing. I'm just gonna let it sit here for about 15 minutes. Totally forgot Mama did put black pepper. Calls for 1 teaspoon of pepper. So it's actually been 30 minutes. Something interesting happened. As I'm mixing this periodically, which I did with these tongs, I felt the meat get more tender, softer. Initially it was kind of stiff. I thought maybe overcooked it. Maybe the citrus has broken this down a little bit, which is probably what happens when you marinate it, but this was a quick marinade, so I like it. Thank you, Mama. So there is one thing I'm gonna do a little different. I've got the heat on right now. Gonna turn it up high so it's plenty warm. I'm just gonna put a little bit of beer in there. This is just to deglaze the pan, so don't you worry. All the alcohol is gonna get cooked off. There we go. Alcohol is a great way to deglaze a pan. That's why people use wine to deglaze. I'm trying to get all these crusty parts off the pan, bubbling. That's perfect. This is really not gonna add a lot of flavor because it wasn't very much. I was gonna add some water anyways to the sauce. Add the sauce back in now. When she did this, she had a lot of liquid. I don't know what was going on, but seemed to be way more than what she started with. So luckily I did add more lemon juice and soy sauce originally. I didn't use it all because I wanted to reserve it just in case. I'm definitely gonna add it back in here. You can't really see it, but it's already deglazed the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna taste it because that's what Mama did. See if the flavor is right. It's really hot. Mmm. You know what I'm gonna do? Add a little bit of this in there, just a little bit. A little bit more soy sauce. Quick squeeze of lemon juice, just a little bit. Tiny bit of water. Okay, now I'm gonna add all this meat back in there. I've got a high heat, by the way. At this point, it's done. You don't really need to cook very much. You're just trying to heat this up. One thing I am gonna add that Mama had on her ingredients list is cornstarch. So she added 1 teaspoon of cornstarch with 2 teaspoons of water. You gotta mix the cornstarch and water first, or else it could clump up inside of your sabao, which you definitely don't want. Add this cornstarch. Not too much. I'm gonna turn the heat down to medium, maybe even medium low. I'm not sure what would happen if you cook this too much, but maybe the steak would be overcooked. I'm just mixing the cornstarch in there so that it dissolves into the sauce. It's gonna be amazing. Sorry, I'm so excited. I haven't made this in so long. Time to add the onions. You don't really cook the onions. After I'm done adding all these, I'm just gonna turn off the heat and let the residual heat of the pan and the sauce and the meat cook all the onions. I think that's good. I don't want to add too much. I'm gonna add a little salt though, just because of the onions. A little extra pepper. Mix it all. Turn off the heat. Gonna cover it. You know, one part of this recipe that always was strange to me is not cooking the onions. I used to always cook the onions, but then guess what? It never turned out like Mama's until I stopped cooking the onions. So all I do here is I mix. I know it's strange, I don't know why, but I just assumed, hey, it should be better if you cook the onions. I didn't realize that it would just sit here, which is very common for Filipino dishes, for it to just sit on the stove. So now I trust the process. Obviously, I trust Mama. You know, cooking this, I was thinking, you know, obviously it's a little bit different than what she taught me a decade ago. And even when she was recording this recipe, I was thinking, I wonder if she kind of changed things up or even forgot something, because she adds the beef bouillon after she mixes the sauce in. And to me, the question would be, why wouldn't you just mix the beef bouillon into the sauce? Is it because maybe that's better for flavor, or did she just forget and then she had to put it in later? Now, of course, I'm not gonna worry about it. I just followed the recipe. There's so many different ways you can go about following a recipe, even your own recipe. That's just the fun part of cooking. Can you tell me what you think about the beef steak?
Ooh.
How's it smell?
It smells delicious.
All right, you guys, good night. Subscribe, watch for more. Stay tuned till tomorrow. Then you can see the reaction from the girls and Judy.